In the SGA versus Jokic MVP race, I think y'all may have found something that could break this case wide open in favor of the Joker. And this is something that points to a bigger question overall in terms of how the game of basketball is officiated. So by the end of this video, I want y'all to let me know if you think this could be big enough to shift the MVP race in favor of Jokic, and if refs will actually change the way they officiate in the future. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Topic Tackle by yours truly, Josh Carson JC3. Look, if you want to get rewarded for supporting the channel, check out the description and hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Those are quick and easy ways to support what we got going on around here as well. Appreciate y'all. Let's get into this. All right, so in my previous video entitled "They're Lying to You About the SGA and Jokic MVP Race," I'll link it down in the description for you to check out after this one. It leads into this video, so I highly recommend checking it out. I received a number of comments about how Jokic doesn't get the same calls as SGA, and if he did, there's no doubt he'd be MVP. Why? Because with more calls, he'd inevitably score more points at the free throw line and pass SGA in points per game. These comments reflected a bigger question, though, and that is, do bigs get treated unfairly by refs when it comes to foul calls compared to guards? I asked about that in a post as well, and a majority of voters agreed that bigs get treated unfairly compared to guards when it comes to how many fouls get called for them than not. What we also have to look at is this Reddit forum right here. Why do perimeter players get easy foul calls while bigs get hacked in the paint with no whistle? Like, if another player reaches in on the perimeter player like Austin Reeves, SGA, outside the three-point line or holds them slightly when they're moving off the ball, instantly be called a foul, even if there is quote-unquote marginal contact. That's been a complaint by a lot of people. However, when big players like Jokic, AD, etc. get mauled in the paint off ball, shoved on ball, or even off ball, and players are reaching in like crazy, it oftentimes won't even be called a foul. Why is this the case? Okay, this guy said, one thing I feel people miss a lot with bigs is while they do get hit, they also hit the defender a lot. As an example, Jokic gets hit a lot of times he hits the defender first. I'm not saying there aren't a lot of fouls that go uncalled. Try and watch how many times they also hit defenders pretty hard. So again, I think the allowance for contact down low between bigs is just different than when a guard is driving to the basket. If bigs got the same calls as guards, everyone would be Embiid. Okay. Smaller players get knocked down and can't take the damage as easily than bigger players. We're going to get into that, but I think there's a real point there. Okay, so we have some conflicting viewpoints. So you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at 3 games from Jokic this year. They're random in selection. The only thing that is similar about all of them is that he's matched up against another formidable big. And we're going to see just how many actions he's involved in that could have been considered fouls, but were not called, to see if the claims stand. Okay, this is November 23rd, 2024. Nuggets at Lakers. It was a dominant 127-102 win for Denver. Jokic scored 34 on 12 of 20 from the field. He went 7 of 8 from the line, had 13 assists and 11 rebounds, matched up against Anthony Davis. But how many foul calls were missed or not missed? Let's see. He gets hit there and they call a foul. Okay, that's fair. All right, backing down against Davis. Little bit of a shove there. Gets the ball stolen from him. I didn't see a foul there. All right, screen and roll up top. Westbrook back to him. No contact. Maybe a little bit at the end. Not enough for a foul. All right, now he's guarding Davis. Davis pushes him out of the way. Goes down. No call, even though Davis fell down, but they didn't call it on Jokic. I wouldn't have called a foul. And right there, I didn't really see a foul. Even though Jokic was saying, hey, I got hit. I don't know. Maybe he would have had to sell it more. That's where we get into this. Are you selling the call? And then they call Jokic for a foul here. He doesn't like it. Goes up to the ref. But as we look on the replay, he hooks Reeves and right there pushes the Reeves. And again, Reeves is going to react more to that because he's a guard. Okay, so it would make sense. All right, now we're working against Connect. He drives in and they get him on a foul. Even though that was a guard going against a big, they still gave him the whistle, which is fair. There's contact that's egregious enough. There's contact. All right, there he basically discarded Reeves. He got a layup, no foul. Up top, that's just a 3. Okay, here's a screen and roll, and yeah, he's being held. I'm glad they called that. It was a worthy call. He gets free throws. And they even called that as a foul right there. That could be considered marginal contact, especially on a big. But he got the whistle. I respect it. And that's the ball game. Okay, I wanted to look at the game where he shot the least amount of free throws this season, and at the time of this recording, he actually has 2 games with 0 free throw attempts, and one of them's at Boston, another one's at Indiana. I'm going to look at the Boston game from March 2nd, 2025. This was Nuggets at Celtics, 110-103 loss for Denver. Jokic had 20 points on 9 of 15 from the field. He shot 2 of 3 from deep. Again, he attempted no free throws, 14 rebounds, and 9 assists. So let's get into this one. Man, I didn't really see. And you can see him banging down there a little bit. Looks like White had a hand straight up. Backing down. I mean, here's the deal. The people out there who say, oh, SGA would have gotten this call, maybe there's a point there, because if SGA drives in and there's a hand on him and he initiates contact, you see there's clearly the hand and the arm on Jokic there. Sometimes SGA, you could argue, he would get this call. The thing is, when Jokic is initiating contact at first and he's backing down Horford, Horford has to have hands on him. He has to, because it's already been initiated by Jokic on the back down. The difference is, and you can see this in the last video I posted, when SGA drives, the defender doesn't necessarily need to have a hand on SGA. When somebody drives against you, maybe you have a little bit of a forearm from time to time just to feel the guy so you don't lose him if you're the defender. But it's a different situation. SGA is driving. Jokic, yes, SGA isn't trying to initiate the contact. He just catches the defender in a bad place. Jokic here is initiating the contact. And so this is a no call because he's the one who initiated the contact in the first place.
I told you that in confidence.
He tries to initiate it on the 3, looking at the ref, but doesn't get a call there. I mean, that's fair. I would say no call. Good fake on the wing. Oh, look, he's looking like a guard here. Look at that. Oh, that was just beautiful basketball. Repost. I love that. There was no call, but I love that. Jokic cut into the lane, and he initiates contact, backs down, back to Westbrook. Now, this is a perfect example. Okay, I want you to just watch this. Where's the contact? Where's the contact? One more replay. Oh, a little bit right there. Little bit of a shove. Do you think Jokic would have gotten that call? But the question is, would Jokic have as visibly reacted like Westbrook did? Watch it one more time.
And this is what he was worried about. A possession game.
He yells out. He sells it and won. And maybe that is a disadvantage of being a really built big like Jokic is. Should Westbrook get that call but Jokic not? Should they both get that call? It's about egregious levels of contact, and Westbrook clearly showed that he was affected and got the call. Would Jokic show the same thing? Should he get the call even if he doesn't show that he's affected by the contact? The refs have to be able to see visible effects of contact. All right, finally, we have, I wanted to do a game where Jokic played against the Thunder, and it's the final matchup that they had in the season. This is the one that they had on March 10th, 2025 at OKC. It was the second night of a back-to-back. Denver got the season series to 2-2. After a 140-127 win here, Jokic had 35 on 15 of 20 from the field. He went 4 of 5 from the line, 18 rebounds, 8 assists. And this is a matchup against Isaiah Hartenstein, and there's a foul there right off the bat. On the drive, now notice, contact on the arm at the end. Jokic normally doesn't get a call like that. I think Mike Malone and him are talking like, oh, man, Malone's probably like about time he gets calls like that, but he normally doesn't. But I'd give it to him there. And that's just a beautiful move inside, no call though. Now Hartenstein, he's going to get another kind of a touch foul here as well. He initiates the contact at first, but then he's able to sell at the end, kind of fading away. Okay, Jokic inside. I don't know, right there looked like there was a lot of contact. If I was the ref, he receives the ball inside. First of all, Jalen Williams jumps into him. So right there you could consider, you know, honestly right here, Jokic, I know he's putting the ball on the floor, but he could have tried to shoot it. He probably would have gotten a foul call. But then he goes up again. He's still kind of got, I don't know. I think this could have been a missed call. So there's one. Oh, now this, Hartenstein is the one who creates the contact, and he moves Jokic out of the way. I wouldn't go as much to say that it's an offensive foul on Hartenstein, but I wouldn't have called it an and one, especially with that late of a whistle. Okay, here's SGA now. And Jokic's face. He's like, bro, I'm tired of SGA getting calls. Look at his face here. He's like looking right at the ref like, come on now. But to be fair, now here's the deal. This gets back to that whole, how much does contact affect a guard versus a big? So SGA does a good job of creating an advantage. He gets Jokic on his back here. Let's look. Let's watch carefully. He does get him on the head. And notice, this is the same thing what happened with Westbrook in the game earlier. Falls to the ground. Here's the deal. You have to sell the call. The ref is looking if the contact affected the person. Whether you think that's fair or not, I'll leave it up to y'all. But that's just the way it's been. It's the way it is. I think it may be the way that it continues. You got to sell the call. Not flop. There's a difference between selling it and flopping. You got to show that it affects you. SGA was able to show that it affected him here. And you know what? To be fair, probably did, because he did get hit in the head. Okay, Jokic now. He did nothing to sell that, but he still got the call, because you know what? He should. He should. Because he was bumped into at the end there. And that is an and one, and I agree with that. But so far, throughout all these games, we only have one missed call, in my opinion. And then he gets called there. SGA was hooking him. That's fair. It wasn't even on a shot attempt. Drive in. You know what? He's looking for a call there. I would say officially throughout these 3 games, I noticed 2 missed calls now because this is a missed call. He's all over him. I know Jokic initiated contact. Williams, he does what he can to maintain verticality, but that arm is still coming forward. And this one, okay. This one is another. But look at how Jokic's contact affects SGA. He literally pushes him out of the way. I don't know if I would have called that. So you got a missed call. We have 2 missed calls against Jokic. We've got some missed calls in the opposite direction for Hartenstein earlier and for SGA there. Because I don't know if I would have called that. But to be fair, this is about a moving screen. So does he keep the screen? Is he moving? He does extend the arm fully. He extends the arm fully. It pushes SGA out of the way. Is that a moving screen? Is that enough to call it? Again, you heard my reaction earlier, but what the ref is looking for, if Jokic would have stopped right there and pulled his arm away, maybe we don't get the call. But because he extends it fully, we get the call. Jokic and the Nuggets definitely earned this win. There were some calls there that went against him. Okay, so there you have it. Jokic matched up against Anthony Davis, Al Horford, and Isaiah Hartenstein. All formidable bigs in today's league, and the result was just 13 free throws attempted in 3 games. Seems low for sure if you didn't watch the film. But after watching it, there were a few missed calls, no doubt, but not a ton, in my opinion at least. Still, I'd say that if these missed calls were so frequent to the point where they would be influencing the MVP race, that is a major claim, I believe they would show up on a nightly basis and be obvious. I'm talking jump off the screen, so obvious, like it's almost rigged. I should be able to pick a random sample of 3 games, as I did here, and clearly notice a trend of missed call after missed call. And to be honest, this is my opinion, I don't see that jumping off the page here or the screen here per se. Now, I'm sure some of y'all out there may be thinking of games where Jokic got clearly hacked and often and fouls weren't called. And you know what? If you have those examples, feel free to leave them in the comments. Ultimately, I'm of the opinion that guards will naturally get more calls as they drive, even if they don't sell the contact, because, well, let's face it, they're smaller than bigs, and hits affect them more than they do bigs. Hits on a 6'6", 195-pound guy in SGA will inevitably affect him more than hits on a 6'11", 284-pound guy in Jokic. Whether or not it's fair to call more fouls for one versus the other, well, I'll leave that up to y'all to decide. So let me know in the comments down below. Is the way that bigs currently get officiated, is that enough to shift the MVP race in Jokic's favor? And will refs actually change the way they officiate bigs and guards in the future? And again, to see all the lies about the SGA and Jokic MVP race exposed, check out the video in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And I'll be back with another episode of Topic Tackle coming soon. As always, stay solid, people.